Hi, I'm Dr. Mary, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing natural remedies with people. Natural remedies have been around for hundreds, even thousands of years because they work and they work on people. So today's class is going to be about the 7 keys to heart health. And I also want to point out that there has been a lot of misdirection and misinformation about what is heart healthy. And today I hope to divulge some truths and some very special news about how you can support your health and make yourself healthier through natural means. And in spite of the concern that we've had with COVID and all the news that's going on in 2020 and continuing on in 2021, COVID is not the threat we thought it would be. Heart disease remains top on the list of killers. 1 out of 2 Americans get some form of cardiovascular disease. So this chart shows that heart disease deaths rose over 100,000 last year, above the year before. Now, according to these records, and this chart is available for you to look at. It's a source given by the CDC itself. So it's not something that I created. But if you look back in the years past and what is going on now in, well, we don't have the chart for 2021 yet, but of course 2020. And cancer deaths stayed about the same as 2019. And we aren't even sure about the real death number of COVID because some of that is skewed by the fact that doctors were recommended to put COVID on the death certificate, even if they died with COVID and not due to COVID. So it's skewed in that fact. However, heart disease still remains on top. And if you want to include stroke in that victim, in that death rate, then we're talking about 850,000 deaths, not 20 million, but a whole lot more than COVID. So I'll leave the link on the article from livescience.com and you can look into it yourself. It'll be in the description below in my YouTube channel. So why is heart disease such a problem? Well, first, all that misdirection. We have been misdirected and misguided into believing that cholesterol is a huge factor. And that came about when the pharmaceutical industry was introducing things like Lipitor, and they thought we were too stupid to understand that there's a difference between good fats and bad fats. So they told us total no fat. We went into this skim milk and low fat diet, and they demonized red meat. And so today I want to talk about a lot of things that have led us to this, I feel, epidemic of heart disease. It might be more accurate to say that what we have been told by those people who are in authority are the reason for the problem with heart disease. So much of that information is out of date. We obviously need cholesterol. Our brain needs cholesterol. And if we don't have enough good cholesterol, we can't make hormones right. And that, I feel, is another reason for women having so much of a problem with their hormones being out of balance, because they have been told to reduce their good fats, and the fats contribute to making these good hormones. So here's some real health problem warnings. Gum disease. We know now that the tissue that is related to gum tissue is basically the same as heart tissue. So varicose veins and hemorrhoids are a sign that the vascular wall is not as sturdy as it could be. And there are some things that we can add to our diet and some specified supplements that help to encourage the arterial linings and the venous linings to be stronger. Metabolic syndrome and diabetes. So when you trade off fat, you add sugar. And now we have become a fat society because we traded off all the healthy fat where we could be getting our energy from fats. We changed it to sugar. High blood pressure is always a concern, that the expanding and pressure on the arteries can be a real concern. We've been misled about the use of salt in regards to high blood pressure. If you are a cook and you want to draw moisture out of a vegetable, you soak that vegetable in salt. And so now I'm not advocating that you douse yourself in salt, but a little bit of sea salt is a really good source of minerals. You can get some good iodine from that. So if you want more information on the benefits of salt, Dr. Brownstein has written a great book called Salt Your Way to Health. I'll also link that in the description below. So one of the biggest problems or complaints that I get from clients is the fact they're tired. They can't sleep. They're so exhausted during the day. They drink far too much caffeine, and sometimes there's a pressure in the chest or a pain in the chest. So getting adequate sleep is really, really important. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But there's also a video that I've created in my YouTube channel about just everyday health. And I'll link to that, because if you aren't doing things that add to the health of your body on an everyday basis, these direct aids that support heart health are not going to be as good. And some of the things that we're talking about are, of course, important for everyday health. So some of the signs that we've seen that contribute to genetic predisposition to heart problems are red bulbous tip on the nose, small red veins in the nose, vertical crease in the left earlobe, and inflammation is designated if you stick your tongue out and it comes to a point and that point is red. That generally means that there is inflammation. Now, that's not a genetic predisposition. That happens to be something that is a key for Chinese medicine, that we know that there's inflammation going on in the body, and we have to do our due diligence and figure out what is causing this inflammation. Are you dealing with an infection or an injury that hasn't healed? Or is there something in your diet that is contributing to this? So a fasting blood test, your fasting blood glucose can help you understand if you are heading toward high blood sugar. Your number should be around 90 and not over 100. If it's too high, take steps right away to pay attention to the foods you're eating. Some of the suggestions in this video are about reducing your blood sugar through diet and exercise, and do some research for yourself. Figure out what these numbers mean. You can call up like hemoglobin A1C. Just Google it. There's a full explanation of what that number is. Everything that's listed on your blood test will have a full description if you just Google it. Homocysteine is a common amino acid in your blood, and high levels of it are linked to early development of heart disease. This is one of the important things, not cholesterol, but homocysteine. It actually means that you're deficient in B vitamins, B6, B12, and folate, as it can contribute to kidney disease, and it's very simply rectified by taking these particular B vitamins. And a lot of people take B12 or they go and get B12 shots because they're so tired. Well, that's not the answer. The answer is, first of all, eating foods that are high in B vitamins, like bee pollen. Now, a lot of people can't do bee pollen. So you want to look for red meat that is grass-fed, because that's high in B vitamins. And of course, it's been demonized. So you can take a supplement, but B6 is important for the synthesis of CoQ10. And we're going to go into the importance of CoQ10. And of course, B12 helps with energy. Now, C-reactive proteins, or CRP, is a marker for inflammation. Now, if you went to the doctor and got your blood test done and you were fighting a cold, it's not going to be an accurate test, because your natural immune response is to ramp up the fever to kill off the virus. So inflammation is a good thing. It's just when it's chronic, when it becomes detrimental to our health. Fibrinogen is a risk of blood clots, but if you don't have enough fibrin in the blood, then you bleed. And so that's the tricky part of taking blood thinners. And when you're on blood thinners, then you're cautioned about taking healthy vegetables like broccoli and things high in K. So unfortunately, when you're taking medications, it's dealing with a symptom and not the cause. And what we, of course, want to deal with is what's causing this fibrinogen to be a risk factor. Now, it also is a thing where the blood will stick together, and that's because the wrong fat is in the blood. The fat on the outside of the blood is what keeps it in a cell shape and stops it from leaching into other things. And when you take blood thinners, you know you've got the problem with easy bruising and even nosebleeds, those type of things. So you have to be really careful and being monitored all the time. And when you are taking these suggestions into play, you do need to talk to your doctor about perhaps doing a down-step method. You do not want to go right off of medications because your body has created a need for those. And when you want to support your health, sometimes it's important to go to the doctor and find out how you can do a down-step program. So let's talk about those 7 keys. We'll begin our journey with antioxidants. Now, all the fruits and vegetables and the colors of these fruits and vegetables create different antioxidants. And basically, your red and purple are the ones that support heart health. But you need all of them. And so taking a plethora of different antioxidants in the form of fruits and vegetables is really the best idea. So plaque forms in high pressure arteries, and it forms as a response to inflammation. So you may have injured this part. Maybe you've got an infection and it injures this part. So cholesterol comes along like a Band-Aid and covers that area so it's not irritated. If cholesterol keeps packing on that injury, in other words, the injury doesn't form because it doesn't have the right nutrients to form, to heal, then you get a very narrowing of the arterial wall, and blood can't flow properly. So the artery becomes clogged, and this is called arteriosclerosis. So only oxidized cholesterol adheres to the arteries. So oxidized cholesterol forms because we don't have enough healthy antioxidants. So antioxidants means that it'll come along and actually decrease the fat. It gets rid of that oxidized bad fat that's lining the arteries. Now, another thing you need is fiber, because if you don't have enough healthy fiber to come along and absorb some of that fat, then the body can't get rid of it. So plaque increases blood pressure and the risk of arterial blockages, including strokes, heart attacks, and thrombosis. Now, the thrombosis can be in the legs, and these can later break off, the blood clot can break off and then go to the heart and create a blockage here, which is a heart attack. So this is a better thing of showing you, here's the artery. These are little white blood cells, or white cells known as lymphocytes. Then there's the red blood cell, which are erythrocyte. And then the immune system sends these white blood cells in to help heal this damaged tissue. And that triggers the cholesterol to cover this while it's being healed. But if there isn't enough healthy stuff in the white blood cells, then more plaque forms, and then this clot is the end result. So that's arteriosclerosis. So one of the big things is to eat berries. But before we do that, in my daily health class, I talk about eating an apple a day. You know, the old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, apple pectin is a fabulous fiber to clear out those arteries. And berries are great because they're loaded with healthy antioxidants that support the immune system in the healing process. And this will reduce cardiovascular inflammation and protect the bad cholesterol from, or the cholesterol from turning into bad cholesterol by oxidation. And it improves also the tone of the veins as well as the arteries. So if you have hemorrhoids or varicose veins, eating berries is a really good thing to do. Every morning, I start my day out with an antioxidant drink that is loaded with berries, acai berries, blueberries, pomegranate, and mangosteen. And I add that to my apple cider vinegar. And that's my first thing I do in the morning to help my stomach with the apple cider vinegar and support better pH. And so some of these antioxidant supplements include CoQ10, turmeric, mangosteen. Turmeric, the active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin. And so that's what this powder looks like. And this is the mangosteen. Now you want the pericarp, which is the inner as well as the inner part of the mangosteen. Alpha-lipoic acid is very beneficial on acai berry. I'm sure you've heard a lot about that. Hawthorn and bilberry. Some of these we're going to go into deeper detail and let you know how they support better health. So key 2 is get an oil change. So we need to know how beneficial good fats are and to correct the misdirection we've had about oil and good fats. We've been told to do vegetable oils, and vegetable oils are basically the worst thing that we can do. Do not ever use canola. Canola is the most, it's made from the rapeseed, and it is the thing that is loaded with pesticides, and you're putting all that in your body. And so olive oil is good, but olive oil is not that great for cooking. So ghee is a better thing. Ghee is where they take the fat out and leave you with just the oil, and it has a high burn point, so you can use that for frying. We know that salmon is good, but if you do farm raised, it doesn't have the benefits of the omega oil that ocean raised has. Wild caught is much better for you. If you're going to eat seeds and nuts, sometimes it's better to sprout those first. In the wintertime, my husband and I do, well, mostly he does sprouting seeds, and we love to eat sprouted seeds because the benefit from those seeds when they're sprouted is almost 1,000 times more than just eating the seed. So hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated vegetable oils are an absolute avoid. Margarine. My mother died of congestive heart failure. Her heart doctor told her to eat margarine. Shortening. You know what is better is lard. Trade off. Animal lard is loaded with healthy fats, especially if that lard comes from an animal that has been pasture raised. Deep fried foods, I know we love them, but you can make them at home in a fresh oil. It's only because when we eat deep fried foods out that that oil has been reused and reused and reused, and it is most often hydrogenated. And when you look at that, look at the, it means oxygen. So it's bad oxygen. Animal fat from commercially raised animals. Now, there has been a lot of information about these farm raised animals and how ill-treated they are, whereas farm raised animals that are grass-fed and treated responsibly, there's a whole different level of health in eating farm-raised animals that are fed on pasture instead of grain. Fats in processed foods. We know that those are not very good. So let's look at some good fats. So we want a healthy supply of grass-fed butter, avocados, coconut oil. Coconut oil has a really high burning point. The problem is that I'm not a fan of coconut everything. So that's why I like to use ghee. I also will take the fat from chicken and render it. There are two at the opening of the chicken. If you open up a whole chicken, right inside the opening, you'll find 2 globules of fat, and you can cook that down and create a really good fat that you can then deep fry or fry your chicken in. Doesn't have to be deep fried. Pastured eggs are excellent. They're a healthy source of cholesterol. Fish, be careful about fish again, because our oceans are pretty toxic. Nuts and seeds, soaking them overnight helps to make them a little more digestible. And olives. So a lot of these fats is just trading off. And you don't need a lot of fat in your diet unless you're doing that kind of like paleo diet. So fat supplements, omega-3 essential fatty acids and DHA are really important for brain and heart health. These supplements are easy to find, but not every manufacturer uses a quality control like the one I'd use with Nature Sunshine. I've trusted Nature Sunshine to my health for my supplements for the last 40 years. My family has been using Nature Sunshine, and it's a really good company. So if you want to trust your health to a good company, Nature Sunshine certainly is a really good advocate of quality. So we need good sources of omega-3 and fish oil. You know, I used to tell people to get fish oil supplements, and then I heard about all the toxins in the ocean, and it's a great concern. So you want to make sure you research your good fats. A, D3, K, and E are also fats that we need. So key 3 is to regulate your blood sugar, and you can find that out by doing a high fasting glucose test, and pay little attention to the cholesterol. Here's the thing, if the cholesterol is over 300, then you really need to look at your liver, because your liver is overloaded and can't break that cholesterol down. So doing a liver cleanse really can bring your cholesterol down. In fact, if you want to go cheat a little bit, do a week-long liver cleanse and then go have your blood test. But anyway, blood sugar is the really big thing for heart disease. Diabetes and heart disease actually can go hand in hand. They're both inflammatory diseases, and it's beginning of arteriosclerosis. Excuse me. So improving your blood sugar by reducing the amount of glucose. Now you want to look at, there's glycemic load, and glycemic load takes into consideration the fiber, not just the sugar content. So look more about the glycemic load. There's a chart that tells you that, and not the glycemic index. So when you avoid refined carbohydrates like donuts and that, there's no fiber in those. You want to reduce refined sugar, switch off to organic cane sugar, no more high fructose corn syrup. Every single one of those little packages of jam or jelly now are made with high fructose corn syrup, which is really detrimental to your blood sugar. White flour, white rice, you want to add fiber whenever possible. So whole grains, there are even some sprouted oats that you can get that look just like regular oats, but they're sprouted and much better for you. So do sweet potatoes instead of white potatoes. And if you are already dealing with diabetes, you need to watch the sugary fruits. Switch to vegetables instead. So remedies to balance blood sugar. There's herbs that help with calming blood sugar, and that's cinnamon, nopal, fenugreek, gymnema, and banaba. The nutrients are chromium, vanadium, berberine, and alpha-lipoic acid. Now, blood sugar control formulas, there's a cinnamon balance that I use that is really, really helpful, and olive leaf extract is another thing that I use to help control blood sugar. But if you are dealing with diabetes, then you need to look into how you can add these minerals into your diet. Now, P4, of course, improve your blood flow. That, if you do movement, you help the lymphatic system, which the blood is it's like the two-part system, is the white blood cells and the red blood cells. And the red blood cells have the heart to pump, but the white blood cells depend on movement, deep breathing, exercise, those type of things. So one of the other factors is nitric oxide. Now, we know what nitric oxide helps with the expansion of the one cell thick lining. So it does this to the blood cell. And so it's really, really important. We're finding that sources of nitric oxide are what help to boost the ability for the blood to flow. And inflammation reduces nitric oxide output. So this is what the two pathways look like, and it's called exogenous pathway and endogenous pathway. So the endogenous pathway the natural thing is L-Arginine and O2, and that creates nitric oxide synthase, and it supports better heart health. Now, some of the things that also help are in improving blood flow are magnesium, relaxing herbs like linden, olive leaf. Like I mentioned before, I take olive leaf extract, lobelia. So if somebody is feeling stressed, one of the things they can do is take liquid lobelia and rub it along their sternum, and it will go into and relax this area. So how good is that? You need to have these things on hand. You can't go to the store. I mean, by the time you're waited on, you're into full panic attack mode. So lobelia is really, really beneficial for relaxing both the lungs and the energy in this chest area. And we're going to go into some thoughts about capsicum and garlic in a little bit. Cinnamon, there's lots of information about cinnamon, and prick the ash is really good. Now, here's a word from our sponsor, because Nature's Sunshine makes one of the most fabulous power pack powders called Rejuvenate. It includes L-Arginine, red beetroot, vitamin C, vitamin D, thiamine, vitamin B6, folate, and vitamin B12. Now, what did we just talk about with homocysteine in this? And the importance of vitamin D, we're going to go into. L-Arginine to help with that oxygenation, the nitric oxide. So really tasty, easily done every morning or every afternoon. It's really beneficial. Now, need to exercise. I know some people, that word just makes them cringe, but find something that is enjoyable. I've been getting up, and every morning at 7 o'clock, I go out and I garden. I garden until I am drenched, and hard work, shoveling and hoeing and those type of things. And along with it, I'm walking, walk, because I don't get enough movement, and I absolutely love gardening. It helps me take deep breaths, and it getting up here early with the birds in the morning and doing that kind of activity feeds my soul. So it increases nitric oxide production and can help manage blood pressure. So when you're starting out, you want to pace yourself, just do a little bit. Make sure that it's not a drudgery. Focus on low stress exercises, dancing, swimming, just little things. Now, some of the supplements you can do are CoQ10, magnesium, the Rejuvenate, and there's an electrolyte drink powder that helps you to regain the electrolytes you lose when you sweat, and it's called Revive. And this too is a powder packed with great stuff like calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium, which are lost during exercise and during the exertion of any kind of a stress thing. It also helps with dehydration and malnutrition. So Revive is a perfect thing to do before, during, and after any strenuous exercise. It's refreshing. It contains 500 milligrams of glucosamine, so it helps repair the muscles that are being torn down during exercise. It also helps with cartilage and joint health. So it has amino acids like L-Carnitine, L-Taurine, and L-Glycine to facilitate this muscle repair. So you might want to look into it. I'll put a link in the description below. Now, anger and stress. Your emotions affect your health. So you want to manage your anger and deal with stress. Take some deep breaths. Learn to calm down. Because emotions affect our heart, and people with aggressive, angry personalities are more prone to heart disease. Workaholics have a higher risk of heart disease than people with who are more easygoing. You need to love every day. Now, there's not things in every day that you're going to love, but love the things that are gifts to you during the day and think out those gifts. It's really important to be having the attitude of gratitude. That can be a really beneficial thing in de-stressing. If you have close family ties and friends that have had a heart attack, they have a greater chance of recovering if they can look at this stress factor and do something about it. So there's two remedies that I absolutely love that Nature Sunshine has. And one of them is Keep Cool Flower Essence. And some of the ingredients in it are calendula and snapdragon and impatiens and vine. And you can learn more about those by looking into the remedy itself. There's some great explanations about it. And that helps with people who are dealing with anger. It's simply a dropper. It has no alcohol in it. It's made with glycerin, and it works with the energy. And of course, anger is an energy. So you can put a couple of dropperfuls in a water jug and sip on it throughout the day. There's no taste, no odor. It's simply helping you to calm down. You can add it to your Rejuvenate, whatever you want to add it to. Now, open heart is when you close off your heart and you've been hurt, and you're never going to allow that to happen again. And so you don't allow the free flowing of love. And California Wild Rose is one of those remedies that actually helps to soothe the heart. Any kind of rose helps to soothe the heart. Yerba Santa, golden eardrops, these are all remedies that help, because when you suppress anger and hold your heart in and you're just broiling on the inside, open heart is very good because it helps you to share your feelings in an appropriate and healthy way. So it also helps you trust again. So wonderful, wonderful remedies. Now, manage stress. There's tons of stuff out there for managing stress. The best thing I have learned is to create 10 pleasurable things. Now, it can be petting your dog or your cat. I mean, things that don't cost any money. This is not something where you have to spend a lot of money. And occasionally spending money on a nice massage, getting your nails done, getting a treatment of some sort. You can do things that don't cost any money, like a walk in nature, talking with an empathetic friend, have a movie night where you do nothing but laugh. You can soak in an Epsom salt bath or just do a foot bath. So you need to make a list of 10 things that you find pleasurable and how long it takes you on the average to do that. So like petting your dog, well, the dog or cat is right there. It doesn't take any time at all. Sometimes we think things take longer than they actually take. So if you take a 10 or 15-minute walk, maybe you're just going to take a walk around your yard and look at what's growing. That doesn't have to take a lot of time. And yet you're out in nature, you're enjoying it. So if you have this list readily available and you're feeling stressed, go to your list and figure out, what can I do right now? And this isn't avoiding the stress as much as it is cooling it and calming it. And remember those two remedies, they will go a long way in helping you. Now, adaptogens are absolutely necessary for heart health. If you're not eating fresh fruits and vegetables on a daily basis, then you must do some kind of an adaptogenic herb like ashwagandha, ginseng, astragalus, holy basil. I'm growing holy basil for the first time. It's also known as Tulsi. And one of my favorite calming supplements is Nutricalm. Now, Nutricalm is loaded with all those good B vitamins, but it also has things like passion flower and calming herbs in it. A little offshoot story. My younger son, who lives now in Boston, in college, he would do these 24-hour stints, and his fellow classmates would be downing caffeine and that. And Michael, every 2 hours, would be doing a couple of Nutricalm. And he was able to think clearly and be able to get the project done. His problem always was he could imagine things amazingly well. It was getting it from his imagination into the done project. And Nutricom, to this day, he still uses it. So that's how beneficial Nutricom was for him. So last key, 7, take supplements for supporting health. Now, remember I said, if you're not doing the basics for overall health, then taking these supplements is just a Band-Aid. It's not going to be as beneficial as if you are doing daily health things as well as your target supplement. So the first thing, I take this 2 a day, CoQ10. It reduces oxidative stress, enhances heart energy, reduces cardiovascular inflammation like gum disease. So if you find that you brush your teeth and you get bleeding gums, you need to be taking CoQ10. You also need to be taking a full spectrum vitamin C that has rutin and citrus bioflavonoids. I talk about that in my daily health class. So it helps to lower blood pressure, and it strengthens the heart in people who have suffered with heart disease. So if you've already had heart disease, but you know what? It's absolutely essential. In fact, if you're on a statin drug, you need to be taking at least 300 milligrams of CoQ10 because statin drugs actually rob the body. It uses the same pathway CoQ10 uses and therefore robs the body of this important nutrient. Hawthorn, in European specialty stores, they sell Hawthorn jelly and jam, and so it's a nutrient, just like elderberry. They do elderberry syrups. So using these type of foods to improve health, I think, is really your first go-to method of securing better heart health. It strengthens the heartbeat, improves, and this is something children can do. So if children are born with like a weak heart, you might want to talk to your doctor, your pediatrician, see what they know about Hawthorn. But you know, a lot of the information these so-called experts do not have. It's most of the schools are run by pharmaceutical industries, and so the medical doctors, unless they're a functional doctor, don't know much about herbs. You probably know more about herbs by watching this video. So, but Hawthorn reduce, you can start at a little low, making your own Hawthorn syrup, and doing a little bit of that at a time, or doing a Hawthorn extract and doing a little bit at a time. Any extract can be made with a capsule. So I go into that when in a video in my YouTube channel as well. But Hawthorn acts as a tonic for the heart muscle. So there's very little bad effects to Hawthorn. The only objective would be is if you're taking heart medication, they don't know what happens with Hawthorn and heart medication. But if you're taking 4 and 5 or 10 medications, they don't know what the reaction is of those combined things either. So none of that's been ever studied. So we now talked about the importance of fats, and they add to the pliability of the membrane, so they're great for our skin, and we have skin on the inside too. So taking an omega oil reduces inflammation, and it helps reduce your risk of heart disease. And it's found in ocean fish, but so are a lot of heavy metals. So you want to make sure that the source that you're getting your omega oil from, you want to take between 2 and 3,000 milligrams, or 2 or 3 grams. Each 1,000 milligram equals a gram. So depends on how it's measured. In Canada, it's measured a little differently. So taking omega-3 essential fatty acid, you can't eat fish every day. So it's really good. Now, grass-fed beef has a really high count of wonderful omega essential fatty acids. And so, if you're not eating fish, you can eat grass-fed beef. L-Carnitine, again, found in red meat, is a really good supplement because it transports fatty acids to be metabolized for energy in the mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria is the little powerhouse that converts things into energy. So it helps to increase heart energy and can be very helpful for improving heart health. Magnesium in natural medicine circles, we consider magnesium the mineral relaxer, and that's what it does. It helps to relax muscles. Calcium does this, magnesium does this, and so between the two of them in combination, they support heart health. It aids energy production in the heart. It reduces the risk of heart attacks and reduces stress. Now, there are lots of different types of magnesium. I prefer like magnesium malate. Magnesium oxide can affect relaxation of the bowel. And if that's what you need, we all need to get rid of those toxins. So that can be really, really important if you're not getting rid of your toxins on a daily basis. Now, capsicum, I am not a fan of hot. So if I'm going to take capsicum, it has to be in capsule form because my French palate doesn't do Thai food. So one of the best circulatory stimulants to improve blood flow. So now there have been other herbalists that have opened a capsule of capsicum and put it under the tongue when somebody's having distress. Of course, you want to call 911, but while you're waiting for that to be able to do something to increase better blood flow is a really good thing. And even though I hate it, if I was to be struggling with that, pour it in. So it helps normalize circulation through the body, equalizing blood flow to all parts. So it's really a very beneficial herb. It is the herb that Nature's Sunshine was built on. The owner of the company had ulcer, and he used to take capsicum by the spoonful. And then his wife said, you know, there's got to be an easier way. So they bought some empty capsules and they started encapsulating it. It was a lot easier for Gene to take the capsules. He could take it to work with him. He was a teacher. There's a lot of stress in being a teacher. And so he was able to heal his ulcer by doing this capsicum. And then friends and neighbors and fellow teachers all wanted to get on it, and boom, $1 billion business was born. So now garlic, it does more than keep evil away. It helps reduce plaque formation, helps to lower blood pressure, stimulates blood flow, especially when taken with capsicum. So the two together have a synergy that work very efficiently to support heart health. It helps prevent cholesterol from oxidizing. Now, all of these things are not cooked. Cooked garlic is somewhat beneficial, but raw garlic is where this comes from. The main ingredient is allicin, and I have a whole video on garlic and how it supports health and how you grow it and what it looks like in the two types and all that. So if you want to look into that fun video, go on my YouTube channel and look at the garlic presentation. So garlic is really important, but a lot of people don't like the taste of it or the smell of it. So Nature's Sunshine has a wonderful high potency garlic that is coated so that it's called enteric coating, so that it digests in the small intestine and not the stomach. And when it digests in the stomach, that's when you breathe it out. The thing with garlic is because it is such a good circulatory herb, it'll come out your skin. So that's how effective it is in creating circulation. So garlic is a wonderful herb. Vitamin E, now the thing with vitamin E is there was a study done years ago on D-L-tocopherol. Now D-L-tocopherol is a synthetic version of vitamin E and actually caused heart attacks. And so there is still that misinformation floating around, and you don't want to pay any attention to it, but you do want to make sure that your vitamin E is an organic source and that you're using a mixed tocopherol supplement. It helps prevent blood clots, thrombosis. You can take it with butcher's broom, which is a great fiber that actually absorbs that bad cholesterol. Natazymes, there's a wonderful information. Do your research on natazymes. It is a fermented food that Japanese use, and it also prevents blood clots. And so vitamin E is really, really important to prevent heart disease. Now, vitamin D3, another, what did we have, 30 or 40 years of using sunscreen and protecting our body from the sun, when we should be out there worshiping the sun and getting in the sun and getting as much sun without getting burned. So it is sunburn that contributes to cancer and not sunshine. So we get D3, actually we get vitamin D from the sun, converts in our skin to D2, goes to the liver, converts to D3, from the liver goes to the kidney to convert to D4, which is the metabolizing D that our body needs for over 400 functions. So vitamin D3 reduces the risk of heart disease, and heart attacks are more frequent in the winter months when many people become severely deficient in vitamin D, and it helps reduce the inflammation involved in plaque formation. Lack of vitamin D contributes to cancer, heart disease, and most other chronic diseases. Vitamin D is needed for the regulation of calcium and phosphate, which help us to have strong teeth and bones. And I really feel that that's been the escalation of poor tooth structure and osteoporosis is because of all this misinformation about the sunshine and how we absolutely need healthy sunshine. If you're going to go get your vitamin D tested, which is more common now than it used to be 10 years ago, to ask for a test for what your D levels are. You want that level to be between 80 and 90 nlmg. That is the level that experts tell us protect us from diseases like cancer and heart disease. So sunshine is synonymous with vitamin D. So make sure that you're getting plenty of good, healthy sunshine. I hope this class on heart health has been beneficial for you and that you've been able to glean some little bits of information. I know it was a bit lengthier than my usual videos, but every month I like to do an intense video that I call Herbal Hour. And if you can take it in chunks, you might want to do it that way. But there are so many benefits in understanding the truth about heart disease and how we are being misguided in believing that there are things that pertain to heart health that really don't factor into it at all. That there were some 7 keys that we went over today that are really truths about how you can actually protect your heart and strengthen your cardiovascular system. If you should have some questions regarding this particular video or health in general, I would love to have you email me, Dr. Mary at bornforhealth.com. Born for Health is my website. There's lots of great information available on that. You can look up the herbal information. It's called Herbal Encyclopedia, and get some really good information about everything that we talked about today. And I hope that you go out, make this a very, very enjoyable day, a very, very enjoyable month, and hopefully I'll see you again next month. So this is Dr. Mary for the Health of It.